Hey, what's up? We're live. Let me know you can hear me well. Let me know you can see me well. It's been a while, so hopefully things function. I do actually have a small surprise for today. Wait and see, but first let's clap. Let's give it up to everyone. Hey, Plumpy Lump. Drop that wisdom, Liron. Good morning, everyone. Somewhere up there, morning. So it's been a while. It's been a while since I did a live stream. It's been 2 weeks, to be precise. I mean, 2 weeks where I missed live streams. Which is unfortunate. Actually had nothing to do with me not wanting to do live streams. It just didn't pan out. I was busy with a bunch of other things and kind of just had to devote more time to different things. But we're here. So I want to do this fun one where we talk a bit about some of my recent insights about watercolor painting, and we're going to dive a little deeper, and then we'll pull back a bit if people are more interested in more beginner, more basic stuff. So I'm kind of filling it out, and you let me know what you wanna hear. And also feel free to ask your questions. Of course, this is the best opportunity. Hey, my name. Hey, Nancy. Hey, Pat. Good morning, everyone. Hey, John. Hope you're well too. Hey, Robin. Hey, Jill. How are you doing? So just out of curiosity, feel free to let me know how it's been. Whether you're painting or not, what kind of things are on your mind. Good morning, Big Hard Books and Classics. Pam, how are you? Yeah, busy is definitely good. I had a lot of different things I was working on, and it's interesting because for a lot of things, I kind of feel like I'm changing my direction. I feel even less confident in directions I previously had, so I'm reorienting a lot of things right now, actually. Good morning, Gianni. Hey, Christina, how are you? Hey, Molu. Hey, Sugar is Sweet. That is factually correct. Let me... I don't think I need that front light. Let me maybe turn it off for now. We'll turn it on later once it gets a little... No, now it's annoying. I liked it better with the light. We'll keep it. We'll let the white balance kind of play out. Hey, Hank, how are you doing? It's been a while. Happy you were able to make it to this live stream. Hey, Rajshri. Yeah, it's late evening, right? What time is it, Rajshri? What exact time is it there? Let me know. John Murray Slabert, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Hello from South Africa, super cool. So the little surprise for today is I actually have which one was it? Is it this one? Yeah. Okay, so I actually have another camera, and this one, it's actually a good one. This camera can do 4K. I put it to the side for now because I do have a bunch of paintings I want to show you, including this fun portrait. But I'm gonna play around with those because this camera is just 1080. This camera can do 4K, and then I have the camera I film my videos with. So I'll switch it up and figure out where to place what. But I will try to bring back the 4K because I've been filming a lot with my webcam. So I'll probably switch them, put this one in a permanent spot, move the other simpler webcam to the desk so that I can just film more easily. Oh, but it makes sense. Let's see here. It's a bit hard to read there. Noriaki, how are you doing? Marjorie, good morning. Upstate New York here for the moment anyway. Haven't watched in a while. It's been a tough winter. Oh, yeah, it's super cold, right? Oh, so Rajshri, only 7:40 p.m. That's not that bad. It's not super duper late. It's a little late. Set this aside here. Christine, how are you? Good morning from New York. Happy to be here. Hannah, hey, so good to see you. Good to see you too. This isn't obviously a critique live stream. We'll do one probably next week. I wanted to do a little catch up, see where everyone's at, and we'll go back to that because it's been a while. So I thought we'll start with something a little less intense because the critique live streams are super intense. You get a view at my chair. This is how bad of a condition the chair is at. It's funny. So I mean, this part is good. It's just that left-handed thing. It's really bad. Good morning, guys, from Athens, Greece. Thank you for being here. Linda, good morning from West Virginia in the US. My name says it's 5 minutes p.m. Okay, yeah, that's getting a little later. John, thank you so much for your help with regards to working on my vision. Was super able to help. Sometimes I get some time and then I'll dive deep a bit into some messages and hopefully I can provide a bit of a better help for you. Hey Hillel, how are you? Thank you so much, Russ, for the portrait that is not actually my face. It's a little Dicky the rapper, Montreal here, cool. So yeah, we can talk a bit about. I've been practicing a little differently with watercolor. It's very strange. It's almost like. Is it down? It looks like something is down. Let me know if you can't hear me well. I don't know. It looks like the live stream's getting slower for some reason. But yeah, I've been trying to... I guess I don't even know how to define it. I was actually feeling a little lost in terms of watercolor. And I was trying to... Let me check, actually. Let me open it up on YouTube because I just see it. So I have to check. I don't know what's up. No, it looks good. I don't know. I think it's just a silly error message. But I guess, yeah, so I've been feeling a little lost with what I'm painting in terms of just a bit of confusion. Like, I always have motivation to paint, and I always enjoy painting, but sometimes in between sessions, I don't know what I want. And I can just choose any random subject and paint it and I'll have a good time. But sometimes I want more than that. And this was one of those instances where I felt a little lost, honestly. So then I had this just thought of like, okay, so I chose a subject matter I'm going to show you in a second, and I just painted it like 3 or 4 times, just because I felt like something is bugging me that I'm not able to do, and maybe that's a good thing, worthwhile thing to work on. I'm going to show you that. Actually, we can start with that. Let me put it on the screen, and you'll see. So I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to bring another one in a second. RK Fab Art, hey there. Rithika, is it easier to watercolor in black and white? For sure. This is why I did the portrait in black and white. Definitely. Thank you, Big Hard Books and Classics. Hear you well. That's so that's so like you. Sugar is sweet. What do you think about trying a new art style? Yeah, so well, it's kind of gonna happen inevitably. The thing I'm thinking about is, you know, I have a bunch of acrylic paint here. I'm just thinking about changing my perspective and mindset from I'm painting watercolor to I'm painting. So I want to be a little freer with the mediums I'm using. Watercolor is probably going to always be the basis, at least for the foreseeable future. But I want to more freely use even acrylics on top of watercolor. Pen, whatever I feel like it, to have the medium be dictated by my desired result, instead of deciding in advance, this is what I'm painting, you know? So that's probably something that is gonna happen. So it will be a difference in style too. But one thing I've been trying to do is simplify. So this painting you've seen here, good morning, thank you so much for your amazing videos. Thank you so much. Hey Richard, how are you? So wait, let me center this. And I could scan these, but I wanted to show you the actual piece of paper. I feel like it's more valuable. So this painting, there's something really interesting going on here. And if you go to my Instagram, you can see it like a scan. Again, a bit of a higher quality, but I think this tells the story a little better. The way I captured, especially the cars here, this is supposed to be cars, and then how this kind of fades away in the sunset, there's something I find very magical about that. And I will show you at a different time the original reference photo. It's just a really pretty photo I took. And I really want to be able to paint this scene. So I've done something I barely ever do, which is paint the same thing over and over again. I usually don't have high tolerance to that, but something eludes me, so it made me a bit obsessed with this particular scene. I feel like some subjects cast a light on your weakness as an artist, and I feel like this is one of those a lot of scenes do that for me, to be more precise. A lot of scenes cast a light on my weaknesses in watercolor. This is one of them, so I felt like I really want to crack this one. So there will be more and more attempts. For now, you can see these two here. 1, 2. And yeah, somewhere up there, I constantly feel like I need a request on what to paint. If someone asks me to paint something, no problem. But when it's just for myself, it's hard to decide. Interesting. Yeah, so a lot of the time, I would ask you, did you paint a big variety of subjects? Like, did you find yourself painting, you know, landscapes, seascapes, portraits, still life? Did you actually paint all of these things? Because sometimes it's just a matter of doing it a few times until you feel like you know, right? Because right now, this feeling I get is not even, it's not even specific to a subject or deciding what the subject is. It's more like a general feel of maybe wanting to get or do a little more with watercolor. It's a little hard to explain, but that's at least where I'm at right now. Now I want to show you another one. And by the way, I need to talk about, remind me if I forget, artist interviews. Yes. So here's another. So this was yesterday's attempt. And the funny thing is, it's this entire bottom section is really bad, but the sky, and it's actually a little hard to see because of the light here in the room, the sky turned out perfect. So I don't know, let me try and turn this off. There we go. That's a little better. The sky here, this section turned out perfect, almost like I envisioned it. So it's a funny thing how, you know, again, one element works, the other doesn't. Kind of the opposite, like the cars here don't, the cars here are perfect, really. That's one of, I wouldn't, and it's so funny because they're at the bottom, right? You're not missing. It's strange. They're at the bottom of the painting. That's where they were in the photo I took. But I don't know. I really like the way they turned out here. So I'm trying to kind of. Is that too good? Is that better? Let's keep it natural light for now. So I'm trying to recapture that same kind of smoothness with the cars and improving the rest. It's very hard. It's a hard scene to paint. It's a tough one. A lot of nuances, a lot of, you know, things that are just very gentle that you need to capture. It's one of those subjects I don't recommend beginners paint. That's the exact way I can describe it. Like whenever I recommend high contrast, you know, clear shadow, clear shapes, it's not one of these scenes. I think I'm at a point where I'd love to be able to paint these scenes I would recommend not painting, out of kind of professional curiosity. That would be great mixed media. Yeah, definitely big art books and classics. Yep. That's an interesting direction. Just, I don't see a reason to limit myself, right? The question is what to use when and how much, and that'll come with time, just like everything else in terms of experience and, you know, building that kind of, you just know how to paint and get what you want. Lydia Christina, advice for becoming more disciplined in art practice. I'm falling into the trap of watching tutorials. I mean, tutorials are fun, don't get me wrong, they're fun to watch. Question is, why do you paint? I think if you have a good why, then you'll figure out how to get disciplined. To me right now, I really want to. I had a lot of competitiveness in the past of wanting to really be good and you know, become like a really good watercolorist. Now I feel like I just want to produce something that is very high level. So it's more from the point, again, of that professional, like wanting to be a really pro with the medium, down to the nuances of control, you know. So I think a lot of it comes down to, why do you paint? And if you have a good enough reason, you'll be able to make the time. Like, I'm getting obsessed with these scenes over here. And to me, it's sometimes, you know, if you paint just for the sake of painting, sometimes that can be very fun and freeing. But then if you start making it your job, I feel like a lot of people lose something. It's not something that's gone forever, but you can lose an aspect of like, it just sets me free because there's a lot of added pressure to it. To me, at least, it's more about the just striving for that perfection of a really, really good result that I'm happy with, and challenging myself right now with tougher and tougher scenes, gradually getting significantly tougher, you know. But yeah, I don't know if that helps as much. I'm in a weird space. I don't feel like I'll necessarily have like good answers to questions, but I'll do my best. To questions that are more high level and less technical, you know. I'm gonna try. Hey Hayat, how are you? Hey Charnel. Hayat, I'm looking forward to this live. Thank you so much. Ruth is doing really well. She's not here. She's in the living room. Maybe she'll come by later to visit. Big hard books and classics. I paint a variety. However, I do paint the same thing a few times sometimes. Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting how the motivation plays out, you know? I think motivation is hard to... What's the word? You know, not create. It's hard to... Not manifest. There's a word I'm missing. Kind of hard to pull it out of thin air. It has to be backed up by something, you know. I get this weird feeling now with the jiu-jitsu. It's like I don't know anything. I had a bunch of injuries. It's rough, but I don't know anything. So it's so bizarre. Everything is new, and just like watercolor, when I got started, it was so weird, and like it almost gets you obsessed sometimes because you can't control it and you want to control it. I'm experiencing the same thing with jiu-jitsu because I have no idea how people are able, you know, to do all of these things, and I have no idea. So it makes me want to crack the code. That's a motivation for me, but it's not like, it's very hard to just make it materialize out of thin air, you know. It's a good question. Actually, I honestly have no good answer right now. How much detail can you achieve with watercolor? Is it a good fit for comic creation? Thanks a lot for reaching out to us. Yeah, my pleasure. So for comic creation, I know a lot of manga artists use watercolor for the covers and stuff like that. It's more of a question of the style that you're interested in. So if you like comics, that watercolor is used for comics. The question is if you like that style, and if you do, of course, it's a great fit. Now, how much detail? I think you can pretty much achieve as much detail as you want. The larger you paint, the more details you can cram in. You can be almost as detailed as you like. I don't think that's really a problem. So you have all the full scale, and in fact, you can make things very loose or very detailed quite easily with the watercolor because of the flow. Something that's a little trickier in other mediums in a way, you know. That's actually a good question because it's something I've been thinking about. So if you look at this, for example, like all of these paintings right here, there's a very minimal level of details, right? Just the cars and the edge of the building is something you can see, and some trees here, some foliage. And I've been really playing around with the idea of how can I paint the whole thing almost fully detailed, but really without details. And it's, of course, I've been talking about it a lot, like impressionism and how much you abstract, but now I'm really trying to play around with the ratio, seeing how I can almost paint the whole thing as one shape, but still it's showing details. You see what I mean? So it's not like simplifying it to simple shapes. It's how can I, on the surface, it looks simplified, but when you look up close, there are actually a lot of details. Some may be done wet in wet, some may be done wet on dry. But that's something I've been really playing around with, like how much I can get away with one wash, actually produce a lot of details. It's something I've been trying to do with all of these, actually. Let me see if I have another one that kind of fits the bill. Not really. But let's put another one here. And this is a bit of a different context and story. So this painting, which most of you have seen, let me actually get rid of these for now, because we've looked at them. We'll use this as the background. So this painting, which you've seen, actually a lot about it frustrated me. Now notice how now you can see its colors a lot better than the video, funny enough. The colors on this camera look really good, actually. I may try filming with it a bit and seeing how that works. But I think something frustrated me about the color use here. I feel like it wasn't nuanced and smart enough. We'll talk about that in a second, but that really pushed me to try and figure out colors a little better, because where I'm at right now, I feel like I'm in the kind of the midlife crisis of painting. It's not really a crisis, but it's a point where I feel like I built so much, and now I get to decide where I want to go, maybe for the next couple of years, with the style and the approach and the result that I want to get. Sugar is sweet, thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to at least have... I tend to prefer paintings that have something punchy to them. Something, right, that catches the eye. I'll try to have one element at least that pops, or one shape, or one detail, one color. It really disappoints me when I finish a painting and there's like nothing that I really want to stop and rest my eyes on. That's something I'm actively trying to avoid. So, which is why probably a lot of them are eye-catching. So thank you so much. Somewhere up there, thank you for asking for the thumbs up. Really do appreciate that. Laura, good morning to you too. Christina, excellent answer. The why, thank you. Yeah, it's tough. That's where the work begins. When you know you need the why, but then you have to figure it out actually. Robin, Liron, have you read The War of Art? I've just started it. I find a lot of similarities with Julia Cameron's The Creative Path. Wondered what you think. Yes, so The War of Art by Steven Pressfield, right? Yep, I read that one. It's a great book. I haven't, it's been probably a decade since I read it, so I don't remember much. I did watch his conversation with Joe Rogan, Steven Pressfield, I believe it was him. Or maybe, was it someone else? Wait. Now I have to... Steven Pressfield. I'm pretty sure it was him. I think he had one with Joe Rogan. Looked a little different. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I listened to the conversation. So it brought out some of the ideas from the book, but yeah. Now, Julia Cameron's The Creative Path, that I have not read. I don't think so. I actually remember the cover. I remember what the cover looks like, but I haven't read it. So yeah, not sure, but all of these ideas have been brewing for honestly decades, not decades, I mean eons. These are things that are, I think, well known from the dawn of humanity, really. The idea of resistance, the idea of how there almost seems to be a very narrow path that leads you where you want, or maybe multiple narrow paths, but they're narrow. It's very easy to fall off of it, but it's very hard to stick to it. And that resistance can meet you in different places. Like, to me, it doesn't meet me with my pure art. It doesn't meet me with watercolor. It doesn't meet me with painting, sketching. It meets me in other areas, maybe in life, in work as well, but not in the art itself, if that makes sense, right? Now, it's almost as if, like, if I was an author, I would have no resistance to writing, but I would have a resistance doing the back cover letter or something like that, some kind of a marketing related thing almost. But yeah, hey David, hi, also I'm late. Working really gets in the way of life. Yeah, definitely. How do you choose references for portraits? Yeah, so it's a good question. I don't do much portraits, so far it's been quite functional. I just paint something that demonstrates certain technique or a certain point. So that's my answer to it. It's not really a good answer. This one in particular I did because he looks like me and everyone says I look like Little Dicky, so I painted him and did this video. But other than that, no real, unless I paint someone I know or something like, which rarely happens, or it's a commission. Honestly, it's been very functional so far, just to get a technique across or an artistic idea. Not really that clever of a thing, but yeah. Hillel. So basically, Hillel asks, how can I make money from paintings that I make? I'm not talking about like being super famous and having a bunch of, but just how to make money from paintings, maybe getting started, low key. So to me, the best way I can explain and I can recommend is social media. Building a brand around yourself and your art. That's the one way. Now, I'm not gonna say I'm an expert on selling paintings, because I would say I'm more of an expert in selling courses. But I think building the brand awareness, people actually knowing you, following you on social media, to me, that's the thing that worked so far the best. You can either do it yourself or you can delegate, let someone else do it for you, which may mean talking to galleries and selling through them. Now, this is another challenge, getting your work in the door. So you have to do research on, and local is easier. Start finding the galleries that are local to where you live, show your works, and try to get them in the gallery. Figure out the terms, how much they charge, how much they take as a percentage, how much you get, and all of the small details. If they are willing to have you in the gallery, way to go. If they're not, you may have to go back, improve some stuff, make more paintings, go back to them. And you do that with multiple places. With that, again, the gallery of today is Instagram, and everyone can see your paintings there. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok. That's where those are the things that worked for me. I feel like some aspects of marketing and brand I'm good. Others, like other aspects of marketing and sales, I'm not that good. Business development, not that good. Honestly, not that good. So I don't have a great answer for that. Hey, original photo, are you referring to this one or the previous? This one. This one you may have seen. This I have a tutorial of. But you know what? Let me dig up the reference photo for this one. I can find it fast. Let me see here. It is interesting to see, side by side. So is it in painting project? Yep. There we go. Okay. So this is the original reference photo, and you can tell how it's quite elusive with all the small details and see. So I'm really trying to figure out how I can make this entire middle section one shape and get some of the cars here smoothly. This, I actually used a lot of opaque paint to get the cars, and while it was still wet. So it's wet and wet with opaque paint straight out of the tube. Designer's gouache in this case. So yeah, starting to figure out what it's a weird composition. It really is. So yeah, August Sandstrom, I think this is exactly his kind of style, which is really great. Alia Mohammed. Hi, Liron, I love watercolor, but I find it hard to start because I'm not good at drawing, so I'm kind of stuck there. Hope you can advise. Thank you so much. So this also goes back to a why. So ask yourself why you want to paint. Do you want to paint just for the watercolor stage? Good news. Take your own photos, trace them, put the paper on a screen with the picture on it, and use it to trace the details and then paint them. You don't need to know how to draw, definitely not in a very high professional way, just to paint. So don't let that be don't let that stand in the way. You can learn how to draw simultaneously, but if you're more interested in painting, honestly, just paint. Again, trace. Just put a piece of paper on the screen so that it's transparent, or on a window glass. Put the reference behind it. Sketch and then paint. That's all you need, really. I usually trace just with the screen. If you have a light box, that's perfect. I don't have a light box. Most people don't, so yeah. I hope that's a little helpful, maybe. Mr. Rainbow, good morning. Hey, Joanne, how are you? Big Hard Books, you paint people figures very well. Thank you. Yeah, figures are fun. Figures I really enjoy. I really enjoy painting figures, which reminds me I should probably do a bit of that. To me, it's even easier because it's not a full scene. It's just a person. I can it's one shape, one continuous shape, and I can focus on that. So actually, that's a good reminder. Hayat, I feel like doing some watercolor paintings, but I'm really busy these days, and painting took too much time. Yeah, if you can make like 30 minutes, you can crank out a painting easily, like a very gentle, quick one, but very rough kind of thing. But still, you'll get experience, and you'll get the experience of painting. Rajshri, brilliant. Gray cells, you mean the which one was it? I don't remember, but yeah. Thank you. Charnelli Run, how's life? Yeah, so generally speaking, it's interesting. It's an interesting time. I just feel like we can dive into this. So I did, I've gone through a lot in the last 6 months. To year, like a lot of changes, and I think a lot of the, not even priorities, but is this the right light? A lot of the things that motivate me, I was actually just thinking about it today. It's supposed to be this light, but now it looks a little off. Whatever. A lot of the things that motivate me have shifted from a lot of more ego-based reasons, proving to other people, showing other people that I can achieve things they don't believe that I can achieve. A lot of this was kind of lost, set aside. It's no longer really necessary, I feel like, which is a very serious chill. Don't get me wrong, it was the right thing to do, to let go of a lot of these things, a lot of victimhood, things from the past, where it does give you a certain drive to succeed. Sorry about that noise. It does give you a certain drive to succeed, but at what cost? At what expense, right? If you're thinking about showing others, and I still have a bit of it, a bit of competitiveness, a bit of these stuff, but I think a lot of it is gone. Now, even though it was a part of a big pool of things that motivate me, I think you cannot underestimate how big of a change, even the small changes, right? When you're going to some kind of a therapy, right? And NLP in my case it was, and you're actually letting go of a lot of past trauma, victimhood, anger. Things move around in your brain. That's the thing that pushed me to do the jiu-jitsu. It's kind of set free a desire I had, a very clean and authentic desire to learn how to better control my body and learn how to defend myself and things of that nature, right? And so all of these changes, they cannot be underestimated. Now the question is, what is the new form of motivation? What's the new vision, right? I always talked about this. I remember a couple of years ago, people would always ask, like, how do you get disciplined? How do you find your style? How do you find this? How do you find the thing you enjoy doing, And I always said, if you have a strong vision for what your perfect life will look like, then you'll probably start orienting yourself in that direction. So the question is now, okay, a lot of things changed. What's the updated version of that vision? What are all of these updated things? So that's where I'm at. And it's a weird place to be. A lot of things that just kind of disappear, it's removed, a lot of limitations removed, and I'm like, I can run. It takes a few months to figure out what the change was, and oh, so this thing that I thought was enjoyable is no longer that enjoyable, and I'm set free to do something else, So that's kind of where I'm at. In terms of other things, like becoming slowly more consistent, hopefully working out. The jiu-jitsu, I had again another injury, so I'm gonna be super careful. Very minor, but like minor is 2 weeks of a bit of aches and pains. So I'm going to try being very careful for the next month or two and work to strengthen my core. A lot of gym time. played a few video games, remembered a bunch of. I think I'll do like a random video game stream next week. It's gonna be fun. I just realized that I can stream. My computer is really strong. I can do these kinds of things now. So yeah, I actually went back to a video game I remember I saw at a friend's house when I was maybe 13, 14, something like that. That is Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. If anyone was playing video games back then, really old school. So I downloaded it from Steam. I'm like 30% in. It's so good. It's so good. So yeah. Thanks a lot, Liron. I truly appreciate your time and opinion. And I do remember the last painting. This is very much comic style. Thanks again. Yeah, definitely. And just one thing. Thank you so much for that. But don't appreciate my opinion over yours, right? At the end of the day, you need to make that decision. I always try to give my perspective, but it's going to be so different for everyone. And I don't want to... I want to always use a very gentle hand when directing people. I don't want to, because it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous when someone stops relying on themselves and start listening to other people for advice. There is some truth to if someone's done something you want to be able to do, maybe there is something there to learn from, but ultimately everyone will have a completely different path if they're following their own path, actually, which is what you should be doing. So yeah. Hayat, I watched that video of you doing the watercolor painting, and there was really good advice about shadow and lighting that was helpful. Awesome. Yeah. I'm really happy. Do you refer to this one? It's just all about those big shapes. That's the thing I always say. If you can build a composition using just two or three big shapes, you're good to go. The colors frustrated me a bit. Now, funny enough, they look good here, but this misses a punch in the colors to me. A bit more of a clever planning. So this is something I'm also trying to focus on. Like you'll notice with this painting, yes, it's much more neutral, but there is the sky. Like the message of the color here works well for me. Better than here, I think. I mean, don't get me wrong. The colors work in a general sense. Like they look okay. They look good even. But I want to take it to the next level. Which I'm not sure what it is. Maybe I'll do a course or two about color theory, like higher level in painting. There's a lot of work to be done. Still. It never ends, really. Hey, Glenn, how are you? Molhu, hello, friend. Do you want to connect with each other where everyone can show their art? I was like, where's this going? Where everyone can show their artwork to each other on Instagram group. Yeah, I get once in a while like group chats on Instagram, and I just archive them. I don't know I don't know how to use them, and I don't know the point. So yeah. Hannah, do you ever try to paint the same scene multiple times until you get a perfect result? Yesterday I recreated one of my old paintings and I saw so much progress. Yeah, that's me here with this painting. I've done like 3 iterations, 4 maybe. There's gonna be more. It happens rarely. Honestly, it happens when I feel like the scene is really eluding me and I have to get it. So yeah. Hey Lisa, good morning. Hey Ellen. Let's see, Elisa. Hey, Liron, thanks for your insights. What brand of gouache do you use? So this one in particular, it's the only one I have. This is what John sent me, the Winsor Newton Designer's gouache. It's great. It's great. So this would be more of the, if you're looking for a highlight, this would be a good neutral or cool version, because you can tell the cars here feel a little milky, bluey, cool. That's because I've been using this. Now, very often, especially for paintings like this, have a bit of warmth to them, a bit more colors. I like to use the Jaune Brilliant, which is really similar to, I know it's very hard to see, but it's PwC, Shinhan. Sorry, it's out of focus. Maybe here it'll work nicer. I don't know. There we go. So this, and I have it in the description of, I have a page showing all of the tools I'm using. The thing is, I would use this one, the Winsor Newton Designer's gouache. I'm using it regardless of it being gouache, but I would be happy to use a watercolor too. It doesn't matter to me, right? As long as it's opaque. But this is a warm and this is a cool. So you may want to get 2 eventually. If you're doing a lot of black and white, I would get a neutral, cool one, just white. But if you're doing a lot of color work, you may want to get some of the more John Brilliant titanium white type. One thing to remember though, you could always mix, like you could use this designer's gouache and just add a bit of yellow to it, warm it up, add a bit of red to warm it up. It works really well, actually. So yeah, this one is Winsor Newton in this specific example. Is there a different line? I don't know. It's just called designer's gouache. It's this. Again, if you want to get it, that's what it looks like. Other side. There we go. I hope that helps. Art on art. Instapart. That's a funny username. How can the Genius Link vibe? I have no idea what it means. Do inspire us, please. Maybe it's Liron. I don't know. I don't know what it means, but I hope I'm able to inspire you. Leslie, the painted image show now. I love the underpainting technique used before adding details. I found it very helpful. Cool. Yeah, that was a big one. The underpainting, it's just such a low-hanging fruit, such an easy way to set yourself up for success and get rid of the paper white, honestly. Now, I want to show you something fun. This is a painting I started maybe a month ago, and I just stopped for some reason. I don't even know what picture I used. I hope I still have it. But that's what a painting that is really in the middle to late, like third section of it. I don't know, I actually like it a lot. I think the colors work well. I remember when I worked on it, I really wanted the colors to look right. So I did it in many glazes just to make sure the colors look good. I added another glaze and another glaze. Now looking at it now, I would probably shift this a bit to the side just to have it a bit off center, a bit to break the monotony or the, but other than that, I really like it. And you can notice here a bit of blue, a bit of red, a bit of yellow. I always like showing all three, Gray cells are your brain cells. Hank, it would seem like a bit of lines or liner marker would help. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting because I did say I would love to introduce more mediums to the picture. So I don't know, maybe I could honestly just grab an old painting and kind of add stuff to it and see if I can improve it. That would be a fun experience, an experiment to do. That way I can practice acrylics and things of that nature. But I don't know if for that particular one I would add linear elements. That wasn't at least my initial vision for it. So say hello. You're consistent with the username for sure. Tanvi Sharma, is there still scope for artists in 2023 with all the AI tools? Yeah, so do you mean if there's like still a purpose? Yeah, definitely. AI, it's something everyone talks about. I haven't chimed in because I don't have a fully formed opinion yet. But from what I see so far, there are some copyright issues that can happen. Like, I don't know enough. I do know there may be some copyright issues, but the overall principles behind AI making art, it's just inevitable. Something that's going to happen just like everything else that's being automated. The question is, what do you value? Do you value just the end result, or do you value the process? Do you value the materials? Do you value the thought behind it? And AI is going to get better and better and better. What's going to be necessary is people who know how to use it very effectively. So you'll start seeing these people that specialize in AI art, I guess, and they become AI directors, whatever. My thoughts on it are embrace it. Don't try and put your head in the sand and ignore this huge shift. Try and embrace it and try and use it. Try and use it in ways that you feel are ethical. So that would be it. I don't think there's a way around it. Once people have the power to generate whatever type of art they want, people are going to use it. I mean, who's going to say, no, we'll leave this to the artists? It's not going to happen. So you have to embrace it. Now, I don't feel threatened because of a few reasons. I value the experience of learning the skill of painting, and I am making most of my income from teaching the skill of painting. And so this, no matter how many robots are out there painting, robots, funny, computers, robots, whatever, AI, there's still value to the activity of painting. It's still fun. It's still entertaining. It's still interesting to see what you can come up with, what you can achieve. Just because a software can do it doesn't mean anything. AI has been used for years in Photoshop and different image editing softwares and all sorts of things that we're not good at. So it only makes sense that it will become more common and prevalent. To me, I put a lot of value on learning a skill, just like jiu-jitsu, which is a very tough skill to learn. Watercolor is also a challenging skill to learn. So I put a lot of value on that, on the learning and the fun of painting. And even though a computer can do a bunch of stuff, doesn't mean I enjoy the painting process less. Now, there are a lot of conversations going in the direction of, so real art made by humans will become more valuable because there will be so much AI art, and it's almost indiscernible. There will be some value to, some people say, physical art, like actually a physical thing, but honestly, how far are we from a mechanical robot actually painting with real materials? Probably not far. Like if a computer can do this, there's no reason why it cannot be translated to an actual robot holding a brush, painting on a very real canvas, right? Think about it. So I don't even think it's the physical aspect of it. It's more about the heart and soul of it being done by a person. Now, I don't know. Maybe it's something the market will value. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something that, why I don't care that a person painted it, I do think because art is collecting, people will always be interested in specific artists. So if someone likes your art, they will want your art. It's very emotional too. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Kind of my take on AI. I'm in the camp of let's see where it goes. I'm not fully against it because you can't be against gravity. It's just gonna happen. It's a fact, So yeah, Tanvi, I hope that gives you a good perspective on that. Hippopotamus. I just tell myself I'll fix it in post. Marjorie, I wonder if line and wash would be something to try on some paintings that seem to like focus. Yeah, again, with the line, I'm not sure. It's not really my desired style. When I imagine my mixed media kind of thing, I imagine giving it some details with pen. Details. And I got that from one of the recent Painting Masters episodes. You want to check out the last two, were great, but the one before the last one. I'm blanking on the artist's name. It's been a while. It's been a while since I did a Painting Masters episode, so I'm kind of forgetful. Who was it? Not the name. I just forget who it was. Oh yeah, Charles Villeneuve. Yeah, Charles Villeneuve, or Charles Villeneuve, because he's French by the name at least. He's using a lot of pen or pencil. I'm not sure in his paintings, and that's more of what I'm imagining. Adding details, not lines, and then adding some spots of eventually focal points using acrylics, maybe even oils, Hillel says that AI is great for references for painting. Yep, for sure. You can create a reference and paint it yourself. Zeus, can you actually draw a black cat on black paper? Yeah, you can. You'll do the line work of the cat in white. So you'll have a line work that's white. That would be one way to do it. Ronald, I do enjoy your live shows. I try as hard as I can to paint. Even 1 out of 10 is as good as you, but it's hard not to waste paint and paper. So, Ronald, a couple of things. One thing I've been thinking a lot about in the last 2 years, I would say, is the language. Language really dictates our lives. And when I read this, a lot comes out that I think is not as effective. So, for example, don't try to paint as good as 10th of me. Just paint you. Because that's something that I really connect with. There's this guy, Kapil Gupta, great guy. And he says that competition breeds not average. What's a noun for average? Mediocrity. When someone competes against someone else, they try to outdo them. So what happens is, and this is why you see in the Olympics and different competitions, once a record is broken, everyone breaks it. And then another record is broken, everyone breaks it. It really is that idea of competing against someone else, especially in art, isn't as helpful. And I know I'm reading a lot into it. I'm not saying you're competing with me, but comparing is competition as well. So just do 10 out of 10 you. And it will come. It will happen. There's something to every different person that paints that is very unique if they're able to mostly remove unnecessary influences. And I think what we appreciate in some specific artists is how they were able to remove everything that's generic, repetitive, influenced by others, and make something that is actually very, very unique. No one else can do it. This is why Joseph Zbukvic has tons of copycats. That's just how it is, you know? But when you look at the source, the person himself, his work is quite unique. So yeah, that's one thing. Okay, I'm not. I don't mean to go too hard on you, but yeah, you're not wasting paint and paper. You're creating. Don't look at it as wasting. There is no way to waste paint and paper, even if all you're doing is swatches and random crap. You're not wasting anything. You're building muscle memory and understanding of water, paint, brush technique, everything. Right? Don't be so hard on yourself. So just a couple of points, because the language really influences it. It's one of those things that now meets me with physical stuff. I always told myself I was never good at that. But even if it's true, technically, telling it to yourself is not a good thing. So yeah, just my thoughts. Keep at it. You'll do well. Tanvi, it's really easy to feel demotivated when your painting doesn't go a certain way. How to stay motivated? Yeah, so to me, again, it was this kind of obsession. Like, why can't I get it to look the way I want? Why is it not working? You got to start asking yourself these questions. Why didn't it go a certain way? Really try and solve the problem. I think it's very easy to default to disappointment when you can actually look at it and ask some questions. What did I do wrong? Is the focal point clear? Is there a good composition? No? Why not? Is there enough difference in values to actually translate to shapes? Sometimes the painting is just flat. It almost looks like someone did an underpainting and left it at that. Right? There's a million things that can go wrong or not lead you to the desired vision. The question is, what are they? So if you're really serious and you really want to paint work that better matches your vision, be serious about it and ask these questions, right? Instead of defaulting to disappointment. I just think, and I'm saying this out of experience. I've experienced this too. I think disappointment is a cop-out. Feeling disappointed is a way to not deal with the problem. It's a bit rough of a thing to say, but I can say it about myself too. Whenever I'm disappointed, very often, it's just me not wanting to deal with the problem. You could just take responsibility and say, what is actually not working here? How can I solve it? And if you don't know, by the way, this is why we have all these, critique sessions here and people you can ask, right? You don't have to, if you don't know something, you need to find a way to know it, right? So yeah, I would say that this demotivation is almost like a protection mechanism to prevent us from trying to improve and admitting, okay, this didn't go well. I can do another one. I can improve. That's kind of my... I'm starting to ramble, but hopefully that makes sense. Plumpy Lump, I've been having difficulty doing anything more than a very loose sketch and color work. Basically, I like my work when I'm dicking around, but haven't liked anything I put max effort into. Any advice? That's interesting. So if you like your work when you're just messing around, I would lean into that. Just mess around. See where it gets you. It's a bit weird, but maybe when you put max effort into it, you're not actually making art. You're putting an effort. You know what I mean? Like maybe you're not... A part of art is you're not the one painting it. You can... I don't want to get too romantic on what is art, what isn't art. A big part of creating, of painting, whatever creation, is almost like you're the medium through which the piece of art is created. Which is why so many people say the best pieces of art I make is when I don't think, when I don't second guess myself, when I feel like I'm almost just in the moment, in the flow. There's nothing around, everything disappears. It's just me and the paint. And so maybe when you're putting maybe don't put max effort. How's that for a sneaky little advice? Don't put max effort. Now, there are some maybe specific things you want to improve, right? And that goes to what I just said to Tanvi. Like, what are those specific things you want to work on, right? So that advice I just said applies to you too. As for the, playing around and then putting max effort, play around. That's what art is here for. Play around. And I know when you play around, maybe the art isn't it's more messy, right? It feels like a sketch almost, but there's something there. There is something there. I'm telling you. Keep doing it. And be proud of yourself that you're able to play around. That's more than what's necessary. Trust me. Marjorie, major reason I taught decorative oil painting was that I could make more money per hour than selling paintings. So now I think it's said. Yeah, everyone has to sort of pick their battles. It's not a perfect way to say it, but if you enjoy teaching enough, which I love, then it's a good compromise, right? I would love to sell more paintings, and I'll probably up my game soon. Do a bunch of things I've never done before just to promote them more. And well, I'm figuring it out, but it's still work in progress. But yeah, definitely, I think most people, because the art itself is the essence of what we do, right? That's the thing. The meta around it, how to paint, that's secondary almost. I know some people when they teach, and I have that, they feel also in the flow and in the zone, which is why I enjoy it so much. But the main thing is the art, right? And everyone has to figure out for themselves, like, what's the thing that makes them money. And if it can be art, great. But yeah, I get it. I mean, the art itself is the main thing, for sure. Plumpilam, be romantic about it makes total sense. When I just move ink on a paper, something usually jumps out, but when I try too hard to capture a certain likeness, it fails completely. Yep. Lean towards what feels good and because it's art, Sometimes you don't want to lean too much into what feels good, like junk food and slobbing around and spending all day doing something that's, not gonna make you happy in the long run. But let's talk about this one next. But in art, I think you really want to move in the direction that makes you feel good. There we go. Little Dicky here. We'll talk about that in a second. Marjorie, sorry, we are right. That Lisa, good attitude concerning AI. I also value creating with my hands. It just feels good. So that's always going to be mine. And it's fun. Yep, definitely. Sven, did you keep every picture even if you don't like it or it was a mistake? Yeah, I have pretty much everything here. If something is really bad to the point where it could have almost been an abstract, which happens sometimes, a sketch that turns into an abstract, I may rip it and turn it into test paper. But if it's a painting, I'm keeping it. I have everything here. I have everything from the last 5-6 years, at least 6 years. Yeah. Marjorie, do you think that copying masters, like taught in art schools 50+ years ago, was beneficial or confusing when developing a personal style? Honestly, the way you framed that question, I think it's confusing. Not the question. The answer is, I think it's confusing. If you want to develop a personal style, there's zero sense in doing master studies. There is sense in doing master studies to learn the fundamentals. But past that, and some may argue that if you learn the fundamentals, you already are too late. I don't think it's ever too late, right? But you've already done a lot of damage when it comes to creating your own style, because now you have all of this influence in your head, which is a legitimate claim. That could be it. Ideally, if you can just... By the way, this is exactly what Leonardo da Vinci did. That's exactly what he did. I believe he was a bastard or something, right? And his pops let him took care of him, but let him experiment, and he was outside in the wild, and he just observed things and sketched them. And then at some point he did provide him some formal education. But the path was very much discovery. No one really told him how to draw and how to sketch and how to, he just looked at stuff and did it. Ideally, it's too late for that, probably, to everyone here, right? Because we're past the age of 7. I guess maybe there's someone here who's not, but it's really of no benefit to think too hard about it. But I do think on a purely curiosity and theoretical level, yes, it would be better if you can have the entire artistic journey a self-discovery journey. No guidance whatsoever, at least in the first few years, because then you can rein that in a bit with techniques, with fundamentals, right? This is what makes a good composition. This is what makes a good focal point. Because you may figure out so much by yourself, so much by just creating. And then suddenly when someone tells you, if you want to make something pop more as a focal point, make it darker, make it lighter, make it brighter. And then you're like, oh, I can do that. You do that. You keep the completely unique style you developed all alone, and bam, you got something cool. You know the fundamentals now, and you make something that's your own, But again, if you're past the age of 5 or 7, it's too late for that. So what we have to do, and who said it? Picasso said it took him whatever years to learn to paint, and then however years to forget everything he learned and actually make good art, I guess. Spirituality and art go hand in hand in my... Yeah, for sure. Everything goes hand in hand with everything, honestly. Career, Nancy G, I'm happy to be painting again after a break. Focusing on what you've said about just experiment, what happens. Yeah, and I'm actually gonna have a video on the topic soon, probably next week Saturday, maybe, or maybe the week after, where I want to take you in with me on this this scene of painting. So let me show you. Let's actually do these before. These two paintings, right? I've shown these also on social media. I want to show you what a typical just practice session looks like to me. It's a bit different, right? I take a small piece of paper, I choose something that I really enjoy painting, like this building or these cars, and I just go for it. But it's a very... So the reason I like to choose really small pieces of paper like this, you can see based on the size of my hand, like this, is it allows you to really control everything that's there. Let me on the light here. It allows you to really control everything that's there. You have a small space, you're more in control. Big painting, harder to control, which is why I really like doing these kinds of things. I'll do a video where I show you how I'm just experimenting with painting something preferably simple to some extent, and seeing what happens, Joshua Saunders, your last name, if that's your last name, is super cool because it's like Saunders Waterford, my favorite paper. Do you ever plan your paintings first, or do you paint straight on the paper? I sketch. I have a pencil sketch, and you can actually see one because when I painted Little Dicky, I'll show you later again, I did another sketch just in case I mess up the first one. I traced this one actually. But yeah, I do a pencil sketch for almost all of my works. Once in a while, I'll experiment with not having a sketch, and it's fun. It's a fun experience and experiment. But yeah, the norm to me is definitely doing some kind of a line work preparation. Now, you say, do you ever plan your paintings first or paint straight on paper? So I do plan in the sense of a sketch, but I don't plan everything out in advance. It's actually a good question. I don't think I've been asked this particular question, at least not in recent memory. I don't plan each and every detail. I don't have a plan for how I'm going to paint this tire and this, and what color is going to be here, and what color is going to be here, and what color. It's a weird combination, and I can do this because I'm experienced, but of looking at the general shapes and the kind of pattern of light and shadow, and then just starting. A lot of the time I'm just starting. The thing I'm very aware of and do plan seconds before I start a shape is the shape itself. Like, I know that I'm going to paint this entire shape. Or this, right? This shape of the car. And where the highlights are going to be. But then within those shapes, I did not plan much. I look at a reference photo, I'm figuring out, okay, does it feel warm to me? Does it feel cool? And I'm doing it on the go. I put a mark, I look at it again. I put a mark, I look at it again. I put a mark. That's how I do it. Once you have something on paper, you can start relating everything else to it. So you say, okay, this looks like that, so this should be darker, so I'm going to go dark, right? And that's how I personally build it up. So I don't actually have a very rigid plan at all. The one thing I am thinking of is a shape. Before the brush touches the paper, I'm like, this is the approximate shape I'm gonna paint, because you have to know where to stop with the watercolor and what area you're covering, because you need to be a little faster sometimes, just for technique, you know, needs. So yeah, great question. I haven't been asked this recently. Jill's Super Life. I don't know how to ask this. I am a detail-oriented person. Often, after putting down the basic shapes, I start to hone in on the details. When I look at the whole painting, I'm amazed at it. I don't want to seem proud. I just thought I couldn't draw or create artwork. Does anyone else experience? Yeah, it's interesting. So, after putting down the basic shapes, I started to hone in. Yeah, definitely. And you know, I'm sometimes looking at paintings before I even add those details, and wow, it's fun and it looks really good without the details sometimes there. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy you're happy with your work. That's the most important thing, honestly. We'll see if other people can relate. Varian, can I dive right into watercolor even if I can't draw properly? Can do basic drawings? Yeah, definitely. I answered this before. You just paint. You can, for the drawing stage, you can just make a crappy drawing, worst case, or you can trace and put the paper on the screen, on a light table, whatever you have on a window. Trace so that you don't have to measure and be accurate, and then paint over it. Definitely. You know, it's up to you. If you're only interested in learning how to paint, do that. It's really amazing how people make a lot of rules and constraints for themselves without any reason. Like, yeah, of course you can just paint if you want to. You don't have to draw in order to paint. Do you have to? It's so funny. Do you have to manufacture the paper yourself, right? No, you don't. You can buy pre-made paper. You don't have to take the cotton and steamroll it and all of the whatever, however that is done, you know? So it's funny. Definitely. So just to show you again, these two, this one in particular, I'm quite stoked with. If you're curious as to my goal here, my real goal and purpose was to play around with those nuances of grays. So you'll recognize here, and let me try and see if the camera can pick this up. Yeah, good. So you can see a lot of cools and warms, yellows, purples, blues in the grays of the car, which is really neat. That's the kind of thing I was aiming for here. And then as an afterthought, I added this group of birds, because I've been seeing a lot of these in the last week or so, tons of them. So yeah, and you know, I like cars, so it's been a fun process. This is actually a picture I took about a week ago. I was just looking for something random to paint as I practice, and I chose that one. And yeah, this was the focus here. How do I get all of these nuances there? So that's a very typical kind of practice painting I'll do, where it's small and I'm focusing on just feeling through the process. Same for this one. You know, I love high contrast. I love when there's clear light and shadow. I actually don't like the result as much. I feel like I have a lot to work on here. The main thing was I ended up doing another glaze over the sky and it was too strong. This is too dark of a sky. That's the one thing that kills it for me. But something I really like is this here with the trees and how they blend seamlessly with the shadow, right? So that's a typical kind of quick practice work. And onto the last one is this guy. So here's the deal. Everyone keeps telling me in the comments that I look like the rapper Lil Dicky. I take that as a compliment, whatever. Honestly, it's just the nose. Both have the same nose. And he has that... it's just a Jewish look. What can I do? What can I do? It's the same with Seth Rogen. I have it too. So yeah, I can say that because I'm Jewish. And the fro, you know, all of that, and the beard. There is some similarity. I mean, we look completely different. Let's be honest. But people see the similarity, I guess. So I decided as a fun kind of troll to paint him and see if I can get him to see this. And the way I see this, the way I described it to my friends, this is one step in a long journey of getting Lil Dicky to notice me and to collaborate with me. So we're doing it. We're getting started on that journey. So yeah. One of my favorite spots here, it's this. Now this right here. These wet and wets. The hair was wet and boom, putting in the dark, you know, dark spots there. That looks really good to me. Got a bit confused here with the beard and the mouth. That area I found very confusing to follow the shapes, which is why you can see a bit of hints of that designer's gouache. And look at how cool it looks. But other than that, the process went quite smoothly. Now, I did post it as a short. You know, it was a fun video, but I have the full process. So I can do a video on it, and I probably will. So if you want to see how this portrait was painted, start to finish, I think it's a decent piece of art. I'll probably do that. I did it black and white because it's hard. Portraits are hard, which is why I went for this. The thought of doing this in colors, it would have been too much. It's not even the easiest one necessarily. The problem with a lot of celebrities is that you can't always find a good high quality photo of them. Funny enough. Like one that's suitable for painting. That's the thing that gets me every time. So you have to work with what you have. Marjorie, because I always thought watercolor paper was expensive, so after ripping bad paper apart to use for testing, I took test strips, put in blender with water, and then pressed into mold and made ornaments. Oh, that's funny. That's really funny. Yeah, you can do so much, just being a little creative. So yeah, these are all the paintings I wanted to share with you today. And thank you, Shelly. You're more handsome. Thank you so much. Nancy, yeah, I was just going to go back to that. Looks like Bob Ross. You know, sometimes I get that too. People say I look like Bob Ross. And I'm like, oh, huge compliment. Thank you. It's just that we both paint. There's nothing else in common, really. But yeah. So I wanted to say I will have an interview. So it's not really an interview. It's more a conversation. So I wanted for a while to bring in more artists and kind of discuss topics. So to choose a topic and just talk about it for an hour live. So there's going to be one hopefully in about a month, maybe a month and a half. It's confirmed, but I'll wait a little closer to the occasion to announce it and promote it. It's going to be really fun. Great guest, and we will talk about a lot of your... So you remember I did this video, what's your biggest watercolor frustrations, right? It's been not too long ago. And I tried replying to some comments there, but for the most part, a lot of those were left unanswered. So I'm going to bring in someone else with me, and we'll talk. We'll just go through the main recurring issues there and give our take on it. Now, I can do only so much by my own. When there's someone else that's more experienced than me and to bounce ideas off of, it's a great thing. So I would want to, with time, gradually bring in more people to interview or give their take. I think it could be a lot of fun. and you'll benefit from it. So you will see a lot of, maybe some people I already talked to in the past, maybe some new people, and it's, feel free to, because that's how I got a lot of the other ideas and stuff. You can write down in the chat, or you can send me an email as well. You can find the email address in the channel. Just let me know, out of my curiosity, who would you want to see as a guest for either an interview or kind of a conversation. One thing I can do, it depends on the person, but if someone has the right vibe for it, I can kind of, invite them over where the first 15 minutes is an interview, and then we dive into a topic, right? Some people maybe it would be preferable to do a full interview, while others, maybe it's just a more talkative feeling. Maybe if they feel like, closer to my age, more of a colleague and less of like a senpai, like someone advanced than me, maybe it'll be more of a conversation vibe all throughout. So yeah, just curious to know what your thoughts are on that. Hey Tata, hello. So feel free to let me know here, let me know in the email who you'd like to see, and I would honestly bring in anyone who's into art, not necessarily watercolorists. Can be any type of painter, any type of illustrator, any type of concept artist, any type of art director. Like really, I'm thinking beyond the scale of the obvious. I think there's a lot of opportunities there, honestly. So yeah, opportunities for interesting conversations. Tanvi, thanks so much for the session. Thank you too. Carrie, thank you so much. Jill, really enjoying this. Thank you. Zeus, can you draw a white cat on white paper? Yes, you can. But this time you'll have to use black paint or black ink. Or you can use white. I mean, you can use blue. You can use whatever you want, as long as it's showing on the white paper, right? So yeah, I'm going to open it up. If you have any other questions, we'll do that. If not, we can start wrapping it up for today. It doesn't have to be a super long live stream. I actually will do a walk with Ruth after this one. The last walk was quite a few hours ago. It's time. Are you talking about future live streams? Carrie, yes, future live streams, maybe videos too, but I would aspire to have guests live. I think that's the best. You can ask questions, ask questions and actually get answers right on the fly. Yeah, I know. You can paint a red cat on a red paper. The thing you'll have trouble with is finding red paper. But yes, I wonder if there is. Yeah, I'm not sure. Is there watercolor paper that's tinted? I don't think so. I mean, there's no real reason for it, really. I mean, not for watercolor at least. I don't know. John, thanks for another great live stream, Liron. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy it. So I decided to do, the whole experiment with the 1 week on, 1 week off. 1 week work, 1 week personal. So I actually have been enjoying it. It's been working nicely. But when last week ended, it was a work week, I just felt like it wasn't right to do this a week off for a couple of reasons. First, I had this injury that I couldn't really, play with Ruth in the park, couldn't exercise, so like there's two activities that are down. We had a bunch of food in the fridge, so no need for a lot of cooking. That's not really necessary. And I felt like catching up on some stuff. So it made sense to do another week of work. So next week is going to be my free week. We'll see where I'll take it. Some handmade paper used by Japanese prints is red tinted with natural dye. Ooh, cool. Because with watercolor, you can just paint over it with paint, and then it'll be dyed, so interesting. Carrie, Paul Clark just did a video about painting on black paper, but I haven't didn't watch it yet. Cool. It's been a while since I watched a Paul Clark video. They're good. Tata, I just a few days back found your channel accidentally. I used to draw in elementary school, but afraid of painting. Now I'm again thinking to start drawing paint without fear. Yeah, definitely. Just it's one of those things that in 20 years or even in 2 or 3 years, you'll be so grateful that you started, and you'll ask yourself, why didn't I start earlier? It really is like that. It's ridiculous. If you want to do something like that, like, come on, you owe it to yourself, And by the way, thank you so much for joining the channel. And I do I don't know if you noticed, there was a pretty big influx of subscribers. So thank you so much to anyone who's new. I keep seeing comments by new people. I really appreciate it. Sugar is sweet. Which artist you admire the most? This guy. Yeah, it's hard to say. You know, I think I admire just artists in general, especially those who are able to cut through the noise and just make their own art. You know, just completely ignoring everything that's out there, making something super unique. So yeah. David Lee, do you do other methods, digital or oils? Yeah, I'm playing around with digital, not much, but I am. And I pencil, you know, pen and ink. I enjoy sketching like that. Urban sketching style, kind of just pen and ink on location, is very fun for me. But mostly watercolor. Watercolor is my main thing. It really is the medium I enjoy the most. I don't want to be in a place where I never tried any other medium and I just, out of ignorance, keep using watercolors. So I do want to try out other mediums. But I get a feel from what I've already been playing around with. Watercolors, it's such a good match to me, you know, and my style and approach, you know. Jane Beta or Arlie Bean, they're both incredible artists on the verge of quitting YouTube. Oh no. So Jane I am familiar with, and of course I'm familiar with Arlie Bean as well. I'm gonna write it down for myself. I didn't know Arlie Bean was on the verge of quitting YouTube. I did know that Jane was, because you or someone else told me. It's a shame. She has really good videos. I wasn't familiar with her, and then I discovered her thanks to people in the live stream telling me about it. So yeah, it's a shame. I mean, so I listened to one of her videos and I really couldn't figure out why she's quitting. But yeah. Give them the insight. Yeah, you know, these are two pretty accomplished artists, I would say. So I don't know how much insight I can give them that's unique enough. Maybe. Jair, any videos on things to know about watercolor for beginners? So I did a recent relatively beginner video. I'll do more. Just basic, you know, fundamentals of technique, how to mix, how to, you know, handle the paint on the palette. But I actually have a beginner playlist you may want to check out. That's, I think, let's see, Liron watercolor beginners. I'll drop a link in the chat. Can I filter? Just show me playlist. Thank you. There we go. View full playlist. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. This is relatively, like, it's a mess. It's not a structured thing. But all the videos in this playlist are mostly aimed at beginners, and they talk more about, you know, fundamentals, things of that nature. So you may want to check that out. Carrie, I started embroidery this year. It's surprisingly similar to paint. You can totally mix color and do shading. Oh yeah, that makes sense to me. So when you put two paints next to one another, especially from afar, it starts to look probably like the color. Yeah, that's really cool. Greetings from Moscow State Academic Art College. Oh, cool. So wait, are you going to that college, or are you the actual I don't know, because I can't read Russian, but thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's put your username in the translate. Sorry, putting you on the spot. Just want, because sometimes I just want to read what's okay. Yeah, it's a not a random username, but it's a username. Jackie, how are you doing? Hello and happy day from Prague. Thank you for being here. I believe you just joined, right? So yeah, we're gonna close it soon, but thank you so much always for being super supportive and being in the live streams. I really like that one. Kind of to wrap it up. But yeah, I want to finally catch you live. Yeah, it's been a while, right? So yeah, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. I hope you like this setup. I think it looks good. I think that the visual aspect is improving. this camera, like, so if I want to show you, let's do this for a second. Good. So now, let it focus for a tiny second. So that's the 4K camera. Now it's not on 4K. I'm streaming 1080, but I will improve it. Okay, it will start improving with time. But just we're on the path there. So just know that it is coming. I don't know exactly again how I'm gonna utilize it. If it's just gonna be for live streams or videos filmed, but I'll probably give it a try. I want to. Yeah, Plumpy Lump, what's your rap name? I don't have one, but I need one. I'll let you decide. Not you, Plumpy Lump, like you, the chat, everyone here. Every fabric artist needs to look at Anna Maineka. Okay, so I want to search that. I'm curious. I always have tons of Google searches after live streams because I learn a lot. Nice hair, didn't see you for long, I guess. Yeah, it just grew really fast, honestly. Carrie, is that board just a classic clipboard? It's a wooden board I got from the art store. I've been using these as you know, the thing to tape my paintings to. I have this one and then one that's double the size. This one went through a lot, as you can see. I've been using it for at least 4 years, I would say. It's good for plein air too. If you go to any craft store, they should have this kind of a plank kind of wood just for general purposes, right? My purpose was to tape the paintings too, but I think people buy these honestly for many different uses. Yo, little Dicky, you'll really look alike from that self-portrait. Same color, similar eyes, same smile. Yeah, that's funny. Let's put it as well. Why not? Why not? There we go. Wait. This goes here. This goes there. That's funny. Next week, thanks, Liron. Let's support Liron now by liking this live stream. Thank you so much. Hayat, next week I will be a full-time artist, so I don't know what method I should use. I really feel doing oil paintings and also watercolor. Just everything you feel like doing, just start. Just try it out. You'll find maybe you hate something and you like something else. That'll close the, you know, that will close the debate for you. Again, first-hand experience is best, I think. Thank you, Scrog. I really need to get to Little Dicky. I mean, it's everyone says it. Everyone says we're similar, so. Carrie, I don't have a rap name, but I have a jazz name. It's Zazzy Pickles. It's from one time my cousin made a spice hot pickles, and I ate one and said, that's a Zazzy pickle. That's a Zazzy pickle. That's funny. And then it's stuck. And you can't get these nicknames off you once they stick. I know, trust me. I went to elementary school. So in any case, thank you so much. We'll wrap up today. I really do appreciate you being here, and I will see you in the next video. It's going to be soon. I'm going to do a couple of more basic ones, a couple of more that really show you how I personally practice my watercolors when I'm not filming, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be great fun. Good things in the future. Keep painting. Don't forget that it's worth it. I will talk to you again real soon. Until then, take care. Thank you, Plumpy. Thank you so much.